FingerSkateSelective. FingerSkateSelective. FingerSkateSelective.
FSS's Tape and Box Workshop.
What up, homies? It's been quite a while, but welcome back to FingerSkateSelective's Tape and Box Workshop.
Alright!
Today we're going to be making a fingerboard park essential, and that is the
Parking block.
Now we're not going to make a nice shiny aluminum one like this.
That'd be crazy.
But I did make this one, and I made a few of them. That was quite a while ago, but I did post videos of me making some of these at my job with my cell phone, and those are on the FSS channel. They're kind of old, but there is quite a few clips, and you can see me making these. If you want, just search FSS making parking blocks or something like that, and they'll come up. But there's quite a few videos just showing different processes and stuff like that. So yeah, we're gonna try and make one out of cardboard, and I actually already did. It's the same dimensions.
Right here.
Oh yeah.
Looks like a big Kit Kat bar, right? I kind of messed up on the ends, but I already knew what to do to correct that mistake. It's all one piece of cardboard.
So that's pretty cool.
And also on this one, I didn't put anything inside it for stability, and we're gonna do that. Also, I just used regular skinny tape to put this one together, just to see how it worked. But on my good one, I'm gonna use the wider shipping tape.
Like I always do about this time.
I'm gonna put it on really smooth, because remember, Tape and Box Workshop rule, anytime you're putting tape on a writing surface, always make it as smooth as you can. So one great big piece of shipping tape instead of these little tiny strips should work a whole lot better, and yeah.
It is what it is.
So I actually studied for this Tape and Box Workshop, so
It's all good.
So things you will need for today's Tape and Box Workshop. A piece of cardboard. That's right. I just have one single piece that I cut off the front of a Townhouse cracker box. You will need a ruler. I think it's the first time we'll need a ruler. You'll need a Sharpie or something to write with. You'll need a bag.
Like a Walmart bag.
And that's going to be the stuff inside the parking block for stability. You'll need either some Scotch tape like this, or the little rolls, it doesn't matter what it looks like, and some big shipping tape, which I have over here on a big thing, so
It is what it is.
it is there, I promise. And last but not least,
Scissors.
scissors. Now, if you're going to attempt to make a parking block,
Please.
be extra careful if you're using scissors. Make sure you have a parent or a guardian help you or watch you as you do it. But be very careful if you're ever using scissors,
Or anything sharp.
because you don't want to get cut.
That'd be whack.
Alright guys, so I wrote down the dimensions of the parking block. I made them years ago, so it is what it is, just to refresh my memory. And down here, I drew out what the cardboard's gonna look like before we make the folds and cut the ends off and stuff like that. So I know what I'm doing pretty much right here. And the first thing we need to do is make a rectangle, and it's gonna be 3.5 inches wide by 7 inches tall. So the very first thing you wanna do is get your ruler. Make sure you have a straight edge that you can measure off of. Although it doesn't have to be perfect, right? It never does. And from the straight edge, mark 3.5 inches. Put a dot, move up a little, 3.5, move up a little, 3.5, move up a little. Alright, I'm gonna put one right here too. Alright, so once you have all your dots, can you see them? 3.5 inches from the straight edge. Then you're gonna take your ruler, set it up on there like that. Make sure all the dots are lined up with your ruler, and then draw the line. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna put it down here where I can see what I'm doing. Sorry guys.
What it is, what it is, what it is, what it is.
Alright.
So there, 3.5 inches. Now we need it 7 inches long. So now I'm gonna do the exact same thing, except we're looking for 7 inches this time. I'm gonna make sure the beginning of the ruler mark is right at the edge. Then I'm gonna mark
At 7 inches.
I'm gonna move up a hair.
7 inches.
I'm gonna move up a hair.
7 inches.
I'm gonna move up a hair.
7 inches. Alright.
Now that we have our dots,
same thing as before. Lay your ruler on there, straight, connecting all the dots, then draw a line across there. I'm gonna set it down here so I get it somewhat straight.
It will be all good.
Alright, and when you're drawing your lines, always remember which piece you're gonna use. We're not gonna use this, we're not gonna use this. So you could mark it like that or something, the pieces that you're not gonna use. That way you remember to cut it out and keep this good piece. So now so far we have 7 inches tall, 3.5 inches wide. That's what we need. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut along my lines and get our good piece out. So here we go, piece out. I'm gonna cut the good piece out.
Peace out. Be careful with scissors, y'all.
And it doesn't have to be perfect. I never color in the lines. I never learned how.
so it's a good thing we're not coloring today.
There we go. This is going to be our starting template, because our parking block is going to be one solid piece of cardboard that we fold up into a parking block and then tape closed.
With something inside of it.
Yada yada.
So once you get to this point, which is 7 inches tall, 3.5 inches wide,
We're good to go.
now we have to add our lines, and wherever we put a line is where we need a bend at. So I'm going to switch camera positions so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better for this one.
And yeah.
Alright guys, guys, hopefully this isn't too weird of an angle here. The first thing we're gonna do is grab our ruler and our marker, whatever you're marking with now, and I'm gonna measure 1/2 inch. That's what I'm gonna do all the way down, is put dots at a 1/2 inch. So measure 1/2 inch from one side and put your dots. And if you don't know how to read a ruler, don't feel bad, because it took me a lot of years to learn how to read a ruler,
And I still don't know how.
so I'm just faking it right now. I'm just putting them where I think 1/2 inch is. So if you need a parent or guardian's help reading a ruler, it's not the easiest thing in the world, so don't feel bad about it. You'll learn it. You just gotta take the time to learn it. So once you measure in 1/2 inch, put your ruler edge along those dots again and draw the line.
Sheboygan?
So there's our first 1/2 inch line, and now we're gonna measure another 1/2 inch from that line. I guess we could have just did a 1 inch and split it, but
I'm doing it the Cocoa Crispy way.
so measure from your new line another 1/2 inch in, and
Start making some dots.
hopefully this makes sense to you and I'm not explaining it too weird, but
You know how that goes.
Super weird.
alright. You don't have to make this many dots, you could do like 4. Actually, I'm gonna spread them out.
This is getting ridiculous.
Alright, that'll work. So once I have all my dots marked at 1/2 inch, I'm gonna put my
Line.
and connect all those dots. What we have so far is a thin piece of cardboard, 7 inches tall, 3.5 inches wide. We measured from one of the long edges in 1/2 inch, drew a straight line. Then we measured in from that new line another 1/2 inch and drew a line. Now what we're gonna do from our newest line is draw a new line that's 1 inch from our new line. So 1 inch from this brand new line that we just made. So this time measure a
Full inch.
And make a dots.
make your dots, and then
Connect them. You know what's up.
I'm trying to do this where you guys can see it.
I'm at a weird angle here, so.
If I screw up, I'm gonna blame it on that. Alright, so I got my 1 inch from our new line, so now I'm gonna connect those dots. Connecting dots is fun.
What's it gonna make?
Who knows? Oh, it's a dinosaur. Wow.
Alright, so hopefully you're still with me. If not, you can pause the video at any time, rewind, see whatever you gotta do. Now we're gonna do the same thing as we did on this side, but from this new line. And what that means is we're gonna do another 1/2 inch. I might as well start at the top. I'm doing things weird. So we're marking another 1/2 inch from our brand new line. Mark a 1/2 inch. I know this is kind of boring, but it'll be fun when we're done.
That's our new slogan.
Fun when we're done. I know it ain't cool now, but it will be fun when we're done.
Alright, let me put one down here.
1/2 inch.
Alright, I got some new dots from our new 1/2 inch line, so I'm gonna go ahead and connect those dots.
Sheboygan.
Alright, so there we have our brand new line, a 1/2 inch from this line, so yada yada. Now, we need to make another line exactly 1/2 inch from our brand new line. So do the exact same thing, another 1/2 inch.
Right at a 1/2 inch. Right at a 1/2 inch. What?
That was me singing.
You know what's up when I'm rolling up.
Alright, so I got my 1/2 inch dots marked out. Now I'm gonna connect those dots and draw my straight line, if I can. Wish me luck.
Good luck, Frankie.
Hooray!
So far we have all our up and down lines, which is really, really good.
And if you don't know, you're about to know.
On every one of those lines is going to be a bend. See the big 1 inch wide spot? That's going to be the bottom. So imagine it like this. That's at the bottom. You fold these up, and these are the sides, and then fold it again, and this is the angled side over here. This line right here is the angled side right here, and this all the way over here is the very top. Do you see so far what we're doing? Alright, if not, you will, so.
Don't worry.
Give it.
Be happy.
Alright.
So now we need to make a couple more lines.
I know.
It's getting crazy.
So now, turn the piece sideways and measure in 1 inch. Make a 1 inch line. So measure just like you've been doing, but make this one 1 inch.
Right about now.
1 inch punch.
So there, I got it marked at 1 inch. Now I'm gonna lay my ruler down so I get a straight line about this time.
Eerie.
Alright, so now I have 1 inch line from the edge. Now I'm gonna turn it around and do the exact same thing. 1 inch in from the side.
What we do about this time?
Alright, I got it marked. Now I'm gonna draw the line.
Alright.
Now the hard, annoying part is over, and we only have a few more annoying things to do, and that is bending it. We have all our lines done, but now the hard part is bending each line as straight as you can, and I always use my ruler and make sure the ruler's edge is right at the line, and then I bend it up with the cardboard and make sure it's super straight. So yeah, next thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and do that. Bend it straight from each and every line, and I'm going to go ahead and change the camera angle again to show you this. Alright, so hopefully you guys are at the same point. Remember, pause the video, rewind the video, do whatever you gotta do to catch up. It's no biggie, doesn't have to be perfect. Now, like I said, we're gonna be bending at every single line, just one after the other, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. You guys might not be able to see this very good, but like I said, I'm gonna put the edge of my ruler right down on that line and bend up, keeping the cardboard as straight as possible. This isn't the easiest. So on this part, it might be good to have a parent do it. That way they're doing the annoying part. So I've got ink all over, so comment about that. All right, now once I have that bent that way, I'm gonna go ahead and bend it back the other way just to make sure it's super bent good.
Like that.
There we go.
I got my first bend, kind of good. It's kind of messed up down here at this end, but it's really not that big a deal like I said. So now I'm gonna bend this next one, put the edge of the ruler right down on that line.
And Hiawatha.
Ooh, it's not easy being cheesy.
All right, once I have it bent that way, I turn it over and bend it back just so it gets bending good. All right, so I got 2 bends so far. Now,
Just gonna keep going.
whoa, that one's way messed up, I think.
It'll work.
Bend it back the other way. I was off on that one a little bit, but that's okay
That's gonna happen.
when I'm doing it. All right, that one's pretty good.
Bend, bendy, bendy. Now the very last one.
Oh, this one's gonna be tough. Ooh, tricky. Alright.
All right, so now once you have all your bends, remember, the widest 1-inch part, that's going to be your bottom. So that's the bottom. So bend the pieces straight up from there. One side's taller because that's got the top on it.
So always remember that.
And remember what the parking block shape looks like. You have your bottom, okay? So from the bottom, the 2 sides bend up, straight up and down from the bottom, and they're a 1/2 inch. Then our next 2 are the angle pieces right here. And then on one side, you have the top flapping over. So
Remember what it looks like?
when you're test bending, you can do all that, and the top piece is going to be big. The next thing I suggest doing is taking your piece once you have all your bends done. Make sure you have the taller piece over here. This is the tall side, which means this is your top piece. Then what I'm going to do is I'm not even going to measure. I'm just going to make a super tiny line, and I'll show you guys in a minute. I know you probably can't tell what I'm doing. I didn't measure or anything, right? I just drew an extra line on my top part, and I'm going to cut that off because we need to make the top a little bit skinnier to make the parking block come out right. I found this out the last time. All right, here's what I took off. A very small amount. So now, just keep practicing your bends, get them up there, bend straight up from the bottom. Remember what it looks like. So now, once you have it bent pretty good and you think it'll go together with tape, now what we need to do, remember we put these 1-inch lines at both ends? Remember, your bottom is 1 inch. It's the widest spot.
You want to leave that.
But the rest you can mark like this. So leave the bottom all the way through. Make sure the whole bottom goes all the way to the ends of the cardboard. But the rest you can mark so you know where to cut off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that down here too. Make sure you have the wide 1-inch bottom going all the way to the top. Mark everything.
But that bottom part.
Just like this.
Now, real simply, I'm just going to take my snippers and be careful with scissors, and I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to leave every piece of the bottom.
See how I left the wide spot going all the way down?
Oh yeah.
Cut both sides and be very careful.
Again and again.
Now, you guys are professional benders at this point, so now you got 2 real easy bends to make. On those real small lines, bend those up. So I'm going to put the edge of my ruler right on the marked line.
And give it a good bend.
Now that it's already started, I'm going to bend it both ways just so it's super bent.
And that's gonna be our end piece.
And do it on both sides.
Shaka Khan.
Alright, now that your piece is like this, and every line is bent and ready to be formed into a parking block, even your end pieces, now what I'm going to do is go ahead and work on one end and get it perfectly parking block looking. And I'm going to use some small tape.
I'm gonna put good shipping tape over this tape.
But I need something to hold it. So on this very end here, I'm going to try and tape this, squeeze it from the inside to get more
Squeezage.
and I'm going to put a small piece of tape on the other end because it doesn't really want to hold that good unless the whole thing's in line.
So I'm gonna put a piece down here too.
Alright.
So once you have it pre-taped on both ends, it's holding the parking block shape, fold up one end or the other, not both.
One end.
Then take some more pre-tape, put it flat on the back, or the end piece rather, and put it straight on the side, right on the side like that.
To hold up your end piece.
Don't worry about the extra hanging off. We'll cut that in a minute.
Some tape like that.
Now, since it doesn't have to be perfect, I'm just going to leave it right on there. I'm going to leave it taped and give it a snip, following those angled edges. Oops, I messed it up. I put a point. You guys don't have to do that. You can make yours look better.
Alright, so one end is closed.
One end that's open.
So now is a good time to put some stuffing in there to make it more stable. This is where the bag comes in handy. Now you're not going to use the whole thing. That would probably definitely be too much. So I'm going to fold it up till there's about a parking block's worth there, like that.
Cut that off.
Twist it. I'm going to take this. You don't want it too big to pop the tape off, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing. So I'm going to make it skinny. Perfect. So now once I have the bag stuffed in there, I'm going to put up the other end and pre-tape it with my little tape.
Right on the end.
On the side.
And now I'm not even going to mark this side. I'm just going to try and cut it. I got to remember to leave that top piece. That end looks a little bit better. I just took too much on this end.
Yikes.
Don't do that, guys. But really, it doesn't matter. You still got the parking block shape.
See how mine's popping open right there in the middle?
I'm going to go ahead and put another piece of pre-tape right in the middle. So I've got some on the ends and now on the middle just to hold everything closed. Right there, it's pretty much done. Now comes the super wide shipping tape. I'm going to try and put one big flat piece along the top and curved all the way around. It's going to be tricky, but if I can get it on there, it'll be
Worth it.
So worth it.
Let me cut a piece of tape. I'm gonna lay it over here for now. Oh boy. Oh boy. I got blue ink all over my hands. Alright, I want the piece to be about the same length as the parking block, which is 5 inches, so I could have just measured it with a ruler, but I like doing stuff the hard way. Alright, so now I have a piece of shipping tape right here, about 5 inches long, the same length as my parking block. So
I'm gonna make sure it gets super flat on the top.
now bend down what's left to the sides.
Keeping it smooth and flat.
That actually turned out pretty good, nice and smooth.
No big crinkly wrinkles.
And remember, like always, anything on top where your wheels might touch or your truck, you want to keep that as smooth as possible. So now I'm just going to put some random tape pieces on the ends to try and hold it. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
So here it is, the new parking block we just made. There's the bottom.
Side, end cap.
And here's the original that it's supposed to look like.
Kinda looks like it, right?
So there it is, a somewhat basic parking block, which is an essential for any fingerboard park. Looks pretty cool, kind of twisted for some reason, but like every Tape and Box Workshop item that I make, I will tape it all the way down to the table, holding it straight. That way it doesn't jump around when I'm using it. So now I'm gonna go ahead and try a few tricks on our parking block for you. Make sure you guys make one of these, or if you don't want to make a parking block, make a ramp. There's a bunch more Tape and Box Workshops to give you ideas. Make any kind of obstacle you want, but remember, if you do make an obstacle, take a picture of the obstacle and send it to me at FSSpictures@yahoo.com, and I'll post it at the end of the next Tape and Box Workshop. Alright, let's do a few tricks on this. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned to FSS. It is what it is. Later.
Frankie Finger.
Whoa, where'd my Lego guy go? Oh, guys, I almost forgot to tell you. If you have an idea or suggestion for the next FSS Tape and Box Workshop, please let me know about it right down there in the comments. Also, don't forget to send a picture of the obstacle you make to FSSpictures@yahoo.com.
Alright.
It is what it is.
I'll be over here at Widow's Peak if you need me. I'm gonna go find my Lego man.
The peak.